been wanting to catch up for a while, but there's always lots of people around, and I know I've seen you over the years at your Mummy's Wish lunches, and I've always gone to them because I just really admire that you've started those up, and they sell out in weeks, don't they?
24 hours was the last one, which was amazing. So that was our fourth, only a few weeks ago now. So that, I suppose, is a great testament to it, that now, in the beginning it was always, that struggle of those Facebook posts and Instagram posts and buy your tickets and, only, 50 left. And it was like, oh my God, it was like climbing a mountain with 50 tickets left. But now the last one, 24 hours. So that was really exciting.
And it all goes to charity?
It does. Yeah. We have some expenses, but we have this year I should say, we had a sponsor who came in with a $10,000 sponsorship. So
do you want to give them a shout out?
Yeah, that's Trenet, and they are consultants with developers, etc.
Wow.
So they're amazing, which was, and just so involved, and anything that they could do, they were just so obliging. So that was amazing. Yeah, so that was a good help.
The reason I really wanted to chat to you, Carla, is there always seems to come in our lives, whether it's in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, there tends to be a decade in our life where the shit hits the fan. We have to we either use it for fertiliser and grow something new, or it buries us. And what I've always admired about you is that you've recycled some challenges that you've had in your life and turned it into something wonderful. And I also find for myself, the older I get, the more, we have to run our businesses, and that's great. We all loved the bells and whistles of material life, no shame in that. But I think the internal stuff, the charity, the giving back, the paying it forward, being grateful, I think if we don't balance our life out with that component, life can get quite meaningless and actually a bit dull, the older you get. So, what we're doing here is a community service passion project for people at home that are just wanting a bit of inspiration, that are perhaps facing challenges similar to what you have faced. So I'd be really keen for you to just perhaps talk to us maybe a little bit about, how you've come to be doing what you're doing with Mummy's Wish, and, anything else you wanted to chat about.
Yeah, sure.
Your challenges.
I suppose years ago it started with, I'm the youngest of four girls, and my two eldest sisters, Louise and Kim, were diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma at 30 and 31 years of age. So that was back in 2000. And that we had never really had any cancer in our family. We didn't really know much about it, except, seemed to be everybody else it was happening to. And so that was really through us. One day she was, having trouble sleeping and the hot flushes and things like that, things that you would think maybe menopause, but she was only 31. But went and had some blood tests, and she was having night sweats and a few things, but then some little lumps came up in her neck, and she ended up going to the GP, and he sent her off. He was, suspect straight off, and sent her off to the chest x-ray, and came back as Hodgkin's lymphoma. And then 6 weeks later, my second sister was diagnosed with the same cancer.
How old was she?
31. So 30. First one was 30, second one was 31. And I remember when the first sister was diagnosed, we said to the oncologist at the Mater, we said, is this something that, not knowing much about it at all, is it something that maybe we should be tested for? Or is it hereditary? How does this one work? And he said, while there's been siblings, it's not necessarily, one that, we automatically test other siblings for or family members for. So we were like, okay. And then 6 weeks later, a lump comes up in my eldest sister, Louise's neck, and her GP went, with family history then of, with Kim, she said, surely it's not the same. But she said, I'm sending you off for the same test. And of course, same thing. So both of them were in. My poor mother was in having chemo at the same time, and we used to, they booked their appointments, so we'd all come and visit and play cards and.
And can I just ask you? Sorry to interrupt. Just for people that don't know, I mean, cancer is such a broad word, and so when you say Hodgkin's lymphoma,
yes,
that's a type of cancer.
It's a type of cancer. It's a blood cancer. It came up as anywhere where you have your lymph nodes, so it can be the chest, which pushes up the lymph nodes up in your neck, can be groin, tummy, anywhere.
So it's in your blood?
Yeah, it's in your blood, yeah, so that's where it tends to present. where your lymph nodes are. But
sorry to interrupt. So is it a tumour?
Yeah, so it comes up as a tumour. So again, both of them, if you had to put their X-rays on top of each other, it looked exactly the same of the chest. So in behind your rib cage as such, in the medial, I can never say that, medial sternum, in behind there was this tumour, which was I think it was something like 9-10 centimetres, something like that, in there, but that's where it was. So but they're both fine, thank goodness. So that was kind of my introduction to, oh my gosh, suddenly we've gone from no one having cancer to having two within 6 weeks diagnosed. And my oldest sister Louise, she had a 12-year-old son at the time, and I remember thinking she's recently separated. So I still think there's a lot to be said for cancers with stress in your life and things like that, where I think that there's got to be a precursor for it. I think it's it certainly doesn't help. She had a lot of stress in her life at the time when it happened with her too. But after all of that, the scientists at the PA came and approached us and said, we're doing a study, and sent off all our bloods and family history, and because there was no other family history of it at the time. So that's all still being analysed overseas now. But it's interesting to see if it's something that we've been exposed to as kids, or because it has started with us, or whether it's something that's just bad luck, bad gene, somewhere there.
I think what you said about stress, and I find that really interesting over the years. I've worked with thousands of clients, and one of the common themes, this is just my observation, obviously it's not clinical or medically based, but just when I watch emotional patterns. And what I have noticed over the decades is, and I must say I see it more in females. The females, and I would include my AA sponsor in this, who's had breast cancer and had a mastectomy. I mean, she's been an amazing mentor. But what I've observed as a common emotive theme in women that seem to manifest different forms of cancers is they often seem to be, from my observation, givers. Women that do so much for everybody else and often forget to emotionally self-care. And it's almost like it seems to me that Mother Nature goes, excuse me, could you just stop and look after yourself for a little bit? And I think, and you're mentioning also stressors, because when we go through grief, like the death of a marriage, which is a huge grief, if you don't stop and catch your breath and look after yourself in that way, and we often will look after girlfriends, but when people go, they just often keep soldering on, blinkering on, and then the body goes, excuse me, I'm going to put you on your ass for a bit, so you stop and reassess. Do your sisters fit into those categories?
Absolutely.
They're givers, big givers?
Yeah, absolutely. I think our whole family is like that, where I think being one of 4 girls, we tend to... we all love to cook. It's how we show our love as well. That's and my mum is very much like that. She was, gave up working after she was married to have us 4 kids, and was the mum who was driving us all to tennis, and she was always doing stuff for other people. So I think having her as a mentor, as a someone to watch as a young child, Dad was always the businessman, owned his own business, and so was often working, and weekends he was home, but Mum was the stoic, always putting us first. It was always about us, and still is to this day. She's still around, and it's all about her kids and grandkids. But I think certainly, thank goodness she's okay. She hasn't had anything, but she certainly had to nurse us all, through.
Your mum and dad have stayed together?
No, they separated when I was about 13.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was the youngest, and. That's never easy as a teenager, but everyone's happy now, so that's always
sometimes
good.
Sometimes when you often hear people say we stay together for the kids, and I always say to them, but what are you modelling for the children?
No, I'm very much against that.
Yeah.
At the time, you always had that dream of your parents getting back together again. You just wanted that family unit, but as you get older, you understand that that's not the reality, and for everybody to be happy, and I think that's more of a mature mind says I'd rather my parents be happy apart than unhappy together for my sake.
Appearances for everybody else.
No, it's not really realistic, I suppose. But finishing your question of, how did I get into it? So that was my two sisters, and then my very best friend, Helen Hackett, who was 31, and she got breast cancer. So she had twins who were 2.5 at the time, and then had another baby who was 8 months old at the time, and she did all the right things, went back to the doctor and was told that the lump on her breast was mastitis, and
because she was
breastfeeding, and did all the right things, had a ultrasound, and it just kept coming back as, oh, it's okay, it's it's just from your mastitis. They kept looking back at that record, and one day she said to me, I think I need to go and have some lymphatic drainage on it. That's what the GP has suggested. And I said, are you still having problems with that? And she said, yeah. And I said, you've got to go over to the Wesley Breast Clinic. And years before, I'd had a little lump that ended up being nothing, and I went there, and I just remember them being,
they're beautiful, those women, aren't they?
So good. Just they specialise in it, and they, I don't know, I was really comfortable there, and I felt like they'd exhausted everything, and I walked away really comfortable knowing that it wasn't anything to worry about. So she made an appointment the next day, and it was bad. It was, she was gone 12 months later. So, left behind these 3 beautiful babies and a gorgeous husband. And so that was really traumatic for us all, most importantly for, her immediate family, but as her best friend, having gone through almost, my sisters being unwell, and then, similar age, and these babies, and we were left reeling. It was awful time. So Damien, her husband, Damian Hackett, who's also my boss at Place Real Estate, he and I started the Helen Hackett Foundation, and we sat down with the Wesley Breast Clinic and said what would be different for Helen, and to try and save this from happening to another mum. And they said, well, we've been having a lot of success with these digital mammography units, and we said, okay, how much is one of those? So are they different from
the one that's squished?
Yeah, it's just, they said it's like looking through a sheer curtain versus a dark curtain when you're trying to look at the, more for younger women too, more dense breast tissue, versus the older you get, the fattier the tissue is. So when it's fattier tissue, it's easier to read on the mammograms and the ultrasounds, but when you're younger and more dense, or if you have implants, it's harder to see it all. So they said they'd been having a lot of success, and we said, how much is one of those? We'll buy you one of those, through some fundraising. And they said, it's $1 million. And, of course, I'm choking on my thing. And Damien, of course, yes, we'll do it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how on earth are we going to do that? And it took us 4 years. We didn't make $1 million, but we didn't have to, because, like all technology, it started coming down in price. And we ended up buying 2 for $550,000. So they're still at the Wesley Breast Clinic with a beautiful picture of Helen holding one of her babies, and 2 of the rooms are named after her. So we're really proud of that. That was lunches and movie nights, and I only had a 6-month-old baby at the time when we started that. So that was kind of something that I really threw myself into, because when Helen was unwell, she always said, if I make it, I want to give back, I want to do something, and I want to, fundraise or do something for mums like, me, who've gone through this. And, she had so much support. She had a beautiful husband who was turning over every stone to find something to, keep her alive with the doctors. But, it was really more something I started in her memory. And
so as her bestie, you took the bat and said, I'll carry on for you. So can I just as we just pause there, can I ask, was Helen a giver? Was she something?
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
So how does that feel? Obviously death and the grief, but you've recycled that to pay it forward. How did you feel when those 2 machines, just you personally in your quiet, private moments, when you knew those, I'm going to get teary, those 2 machines were there? How was that for you?
Very emotional to begin with. I still do to this day. I still get different messages, random strangers I've never heard, but they've somehow got my phone number or my email, through the hospital, and they've written me some beautiful letters over the years of, that you've saved my life, and I'll start crying now. if it wasn't for this, but I don't see it as myself. I see it certainly a big community around here of Helen's friends and, you know, clients of place and supporters who really made that happen. I mean, we help facilitate it, but you know, they're the ones who bought the tickets and you know, came to our events and things like that. And so to be able to do that, I think she'd be, if you could ask her, I think she'd be embarrassed, but she'd be really happy, you know, that there was so much fuss made. But I think, you know, secretly she'd be really pleased that, you know, most importantly, it's saving lives still. So.
But, you know, you're driving that, and that's a wonderful thing. And so anybody that's watching this that would like to, you know, they have a similar story, or people that they love in their midst and they want to be a part of the solution, they can donate to Mummy's Wish. Can they go online
so
and do
Mummy's
that?
Wish is a different thing. So that was a Helen Hackett Foundation.
Sorry, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
no. So that's
So Helen Hackett
have to keep
Foundation.
up, Cynthia.
This was. So you've got two charities on the
No,
go.
so we closed, and after we bought the machines, we felt we needed to put a full stop on that.
Okay,
In that
so
we did what we had to
done.
do
All right.
for Helen, and you know, we're really happy with that. So that still lives on in that it's still there and still working. And
So that was a project
that was
had
a
an end
project.
date.
Yeah. I think for everybody, we were really happy to do that, and so we finished that off. But so that was, gosh, what are we now? 2019. So fast forward, I have my little boy, and then one day I have a cough, and that's been developing, and a little boy in prep, and I just couldn't stop this cough. It was awful, and I just thought Billy, my little boy, had this, you know, same cough, and I just thought, oh, it's just a bit of leftover from what he's got. Yep. So I went to the GP, and he said, look, sometimes you need a bit of antibiotics to kick it along. Sometimes they hang around for a while. So he said, I'll give you that, but have a chest x-ray and some blood tests as well. And I said, okay. So I had just turned 40 on the Friday and had a party, and...
Bloody hell, is that much?
Yeah, you were.
That's not too far.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
And coughing madly still. And as graphic as it is, I was coughing up blood on the weekend. After my 40, not a smoker. No, I used to have, you know, the odd rum and coke at the underground and a ciggy in my early days, but that was the extent. And so I started coughing up blood, and that terrified me. So I quickly took myself off to the chest X-ray, place, and went and got the blood test, and hadn't told anyone about that. I was just freaking out quietly, and got back to work. That was in the morning. Got back to work, and you know, my GP's calling me, and I thought, oh no, you know, I don't think I've ever had the GP call me on the, you know, came up with a clinic name, and took the call with a deep breath, and she said, oh, the doctor wants to see you straight away. And I just thought, oh. So of course I've gone out to the car, pulled out the chest x-ray, and here's this big, you know, what was clearly my heart, and on the other side there's another lump, you know, or shadow, I should say, the same size as my heart, but on the opposite side. And I thought, oh, that's not meant to be there. And you know, I know you're not supposed to open up these things, but I couldn't help myself. Anyhow, so went into the GP, and he looked white, and so then I became white, and luckily Marisa Vecchio, my sister-in-law, was with me, and she just popped in for a coffee, and I said, oh, I think I have, down at, you know, Oxford Street, and I said, oh, I think I have cancer, and she's like, oh, you're so dramatic. And I said, no, I think there's something wrong. I've looked at this x-ray, and it was actually sitting with her when the GP's called. So she said, I'll come with you. So up we went, and I didn't want to tell my husband just straight off, because number one, I didn't really know what it was and what was happening, but I thought I'd rather know what I'm dealing with before.
Sometimes you've got to digest it.
Yeah, I had to find out what it was, and then I'll work out what the next plan of action was going to be. So she came with me, and it was just... It's that feeling that they tell you that happens, where your whole stomach drops, and you just feel like you suddenly go from a person who has control and, you know, I probably like to ask my husband, I probably like to control things, and I like them the way they are, and suddenly it was someone just ripping it off you, and you just no longer had that. And you know, automatically I went to my 5-year-old son, and I thought, oh my God, am I going to make this? You know, I'd had two sisters, still not really knowing what it was, because the GP said, look, there's there's a big shadow there, it shouldn't be there. And it's like, yeah, I've already looked at that. And he said, we're going to send you off for a, CT scan, etc., MRI on it, just to really get a good picture of what it is, some more blood tests and things like that, and then we'll see what's happening, but that should not be there. That's a real concern. It could be lung cancer, but you're not of an age group.
Or a
40,
smoker, yeah.
You're not a smoker, you don't really come into that. Doesn't mean you can't get it, but you're probably not, but there's other lymphomas and things like that. And I said my two sisters had Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he went, there's a good chance that's what it is too. But he said, I can't diagnose it off just a picture. So off I went to that, but I still hadn't told anyone. It's just Marisa, she came with me. We raced up to the MARTA, and I don't know, it just went from bad to worse then. Took 7 weeks. I went to a specialist at...
took 7 weeks, to find out exactly what was
Yeah,
going on?
find out exactly what it was.
God, the waiting is...
Yeah, well, it's actually, I was misdiagnosed to begin with too. So I probably don't need to go into all of that, but I was misdiagnosed and, at a top hospital and, a top specialist.
So told it was what?
A pseudo tumour. Which
sounds like a pretend tumour.
Pretend tumour.
Like nothing to worry about tumour?
Yeah. So they did all different types. I had to go into hospital to have my lung deflated so they could take out a bigger biopsy. They went down the throat. They went in my chest, fine needle biopsies, trying to pull out, to get a biopsy to test, and it just kept coming back, inflammation. Couldn't find any cancer cells, down my throat, doing what they call washings, where they put fluid down and then, kind of suck it back up, trying to find, is there anything down in your chest? No, nothing would come back as cancer of any type. So they said, there's a thing called a pseudo-tumour. No, I've never dealt with it before, but, there is a pseudo-tumour thing, and, take this...
Coughing up blood, though,
I know. Well, there was definitely something there, but it was... just wouldn't come back as cancer, so they couldn't, tell me it was cancer at that point. So he said, take, these drugs, and that should shrink it. We've got to keep a close eye. And I said, so you haven't treated this before? And he said, no, I haven't. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have any confidence there either. So I went home and I said to my husband, I I just don't feel right with this. I feel really uncomfortable, and
they're missing something. Yeah,
something. It doesn't feel right. I should have been really excited because at this stage it's not cancer, and there were no other tests about to be done. It was this is your treatment to get rid of this pseudo tumour. And I just said to Steve, I'm really uncomfortable. So he said, why don't you ring David Schlecht, who is a radiation oncologist at the Wesley, and he said, who's his mate, and I said, he said, let's have a chat to him and see what he says. So he said, I'm going to pull up your results now on the computer from the Wesley. And he said, no, you need to come and see me. And so I went and had a consultation with him, and he sent me straight up to Paul Eliadis up at Icon at the Wesley. And he just said, did you have a PET scan? I can't see a PET scan in these results. And there was a lot of stuff that didn't happen that really should have with my family history. And he kept saying, did you tell this doctor about your family history? And I said, yeah, I did. I kept saying, really, if you put all of our 3 x-rays all together, it was the same, same tumour, same spot, similar size, all that kind of stuff. So, but anyhow, moving forward, I was diagnosed in 24 hours Hodgkin's lymphoma at this, second doctor, and from then on it was chemo 2 days later. So I had to, 6 months of that, and then these days they take your stem cells as well. So once you've finished your chemo, they give you a break, and it was actually around this Easter time. I remember having a break for about 4 weeks, and then they hit you with another chemo. Where they...
So remember you had hair loss? Remember you...
Yeah.
A beautiful turban and...
yes.
Doing your thing?
Yeah. I had bought a wig, but I just never felt comfortable with it. I always just, it always felt strange on your scalp. So I ended up wearing those little bamboo... little hats and things like that, which was always better. But so 6 months of chemo, then the stem cells, they still store those for me over at the Wesley. So if I ever, get the same one back. They can hit me with the really big chemo, and they've got my good stem cells to put back, which helps you get better quicker. And then I also had radiotherapy as well. So afterwards, so that was 5 weeks or something that I had of that. So I had a good 12 months off work. But during that time when my hair started to fall out, again, that control, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to shave my hair off. And that, I think, as a woman is one of the hardest things. And it sounds so vain.
No,
but
it doesn't.
Your hair is, it's not like I have long, luscious locks, and I didn't even back then. But your hair's your hair, and that's kind of part of your identity, I suppose. So I thought Mummy's Wish was a charity who had contacted me when I was first diagnosed. They'd heard through one of my friends, someone had put my name down to say that she was a young mum with a young child, and they contacted me, and there was a beautiful girl who called me and from Mummy's Wish and said, came out to the house and met with me and bought me a beautiful basket with this beautiful bear, which had a little voice recorder in it, and just beautiful hand products and, things for Billy and things for me, some earrings and a turban and, just lots of...
pure charity.
Just pure charity, just beautiful things that girls like, and just even a beautiful notepad and pen, so when you are in hospital and you needed to take notes, just little things like that you may not have thought of to bring. It was just a little bag you could take with you, and just really generous, thoughtful things. So they came out, and they also gave me a Visa Ep12 card as well, and they said parking's really expensive. They kept trying to work out and I said, look, I have so much help. I said, I've got a beautiful mother and sisters and friends that I'd rather you give this to somebody who really needs it, because I know there's no doubt those people out there. And so we fought back and forth, and they said, look, it's a non-means tested charity. We just want to do nice things for people who are struggling and, with their health. So we'd love to do something for you. So anyhow, I allowed them to help me.
So can we just pause for a moment? Because again, this is this interesting theme of, and control is a byproduct and a very important component of successful life. You need to be able to control your external parameters so you can actually get to where you want to go. So control is not always something that, we have to look at with any kind of the fact that it's a problem. It's not problematic. But the other side of the coin is if the control is the larger part of your life, which means you control the output, but you're not good at receiving.
No.
Which it sounds like what I'm noticing here in this theme as you talk about all these amazing women, including yourself in this, is that receiving homework. And my sponsor has had to do a lot of receiving homework, because she's the same. She will give until she has nothing left in the tank. But if you deplete yourself of your own energy, the body kind of says, well, what about me? And we've all heard those cliche sayings, if you're on a plane, put your oxygen mask on first. You can't give away what you haven't got. So Mummy's Wish kick-started you on your receiving homework. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. It was very uncomfortable for me to say yes, because I felt like I was taking from other people who needed it more than I did. I had help, so why I can't do that. But I said I would take your help on, and this went on for a long time before I ever agreed to take this help. But I said, I'm actually pretty good at fundraising. I said, told them about the Helen Hackett Foundation and what we'd done there. And they looked at me and went, listen, that sounds amazing, but right now you need to concentrate on getting well, and we want to do this for you, but that's great down the track, but let's just concentrate on you for now. But it's like, oh no, but I'm really, anyhow, let's just do this. So after a few weeks of my hair falling out and that control again, I thought, I can't, this is, it really hurts when it falls out. And I don't know if that's different chemos physically hurts. It's actually, you can feel your scalp is tight, and, you can almost feel, it's hard to describe it. Almost you can feel every single hair when it comes out. You can almost feel like a little pinprick almost is how it felt. So, who knows what those drugs are making you well, but they're also doing crazy stuff inside your body too. So I thought it's just going to all have to come out, because it was coming in clumps in my hands, and that was traumatic. As I said, it's hard to see your hair and have a shower, and it's coming down in the basin, and it's
a shedding.
It is
shedding of a chapter.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought, how can I take control of this? And I thought, well, they do the, the shave for a cure and things like that. And I thought, well, maybe I could help Mummy's Wish by shaving my hair, and maybe I could put a target of $500 on, and that would have, helped pay off what they've, done for me, and that's giving something back to them. So I put this $500 target and did one of the websites, the GoFundMe, or equivalent of that. It was one of those sites, and so I put this $500 target up, and within 2 weeks I had $22,000 from clients, family, friends.
You are good at fundraising.
Yeah, I worked out I was after that was for sure. I had a lot of good friends, very generous friends. And then I had my girlfriends come over, we had some morning tea, and my hairdresser came over and we took some photos, and, I shed some tears as she shaved my hair off. But can I tell you, it felt so good when I was raising that money. So that was my way of taking control of the hair loss and the cancer. It's always getting the finger to the cancer by, saying, you may have done this, but hey, I've just raised all this money for you.
I think, can I just pause you there? And it's a really interesting thing. And my husband also, we did a similar thing when my sponsor had cancer, and my husband shaved her head there. And I think, and you correct me if this doesn't fit, but what I observed, that no matter what the recovery journey, no matter what a person's recovering from, you were staring down the barrel of a health crisis. And what I am hearing you saying is, you've got biological family, you've got help, but receiving support from the community, from the universe, it's almost like, well, my family's allowed to help me, my husband's allowed to help me, but you're not. But the thing is, you don't just raise 20 grand, Carla, if you're not somebody that gives abundantly and gives generously. You're not lucky. You've earned that. People want to give back. And receiving and allowing the community, and not just family and friends, that we give a VIP pass and and they know when to step back when we've had enough. But it seems like the universe said to you, Carla, you're a generous person. You need, and I think what I observed when watching my sponsor and what you just described there, I actually would respectfully disagree that you weren't taking control by shaving your head. You were surrendering to the universe and doing a trade. I will only surrender to this support if you allow me to give back.
Yes, absolutely.
And the universe is basically saying, okay, now we've got an even trade. You let us give to you. And who knows how the universe works, whether it's Mother Nature and that's just beyond my little brain to conform, whether it's Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Mother Nature, whatever the universal loving force is. But it seems to me that a loving force, if it's a parental force that drives the oceans and the oxygen and gravity, and those are universal laws, no matter what culture you come from, we can't argue with. They kind of parent us because they keep us on this planet. And if these universal laws, like a parent, would say, well, we'll give the most toys to the people that share the most.
Yeah, sure.
And if you're going to pay it forward and share, I always think of Bob Geldof and Greenpeace and Oprah Winfrey, and the people that share often get a lot of abundance. And as you were basically saying, the deal is, okay, the universe can give to me, but you have to allow me to give it back. Absolutely. Because that's the natural high. But you weren't allowing the universe to receive. And as you surrendered, and had your hairdresser there, you also, and again, your whole philosophy, you've obviously been living this way your whole life, is to give back. But there was an imbalance on what you would receive. And your body, and it's a really beautiful thing that you've done by actually going, okay, well, you can give to me Mummy's Wish, but I have to keep being Carla.
Absolutely.
I have to keep giving it back.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the ledger. You allowed it to come in a little bit more.
Yeah, it felt more natural for me to be able to do something in return. And I think, so that's really where my introduction with Mummy's Wish started. And then, of course, when I got better, I said, now that I feel better and I'm back at work and, life has calmed down, I would like to have a lunch. We had so much success with the Helen Hackett lunches that I'd love to try something. And my very good friend Tony from Tartufo down at Emporium, we all love his beautiful food.
We love Tartufo.
I said to him, I'd love to have a function at your restaurant, Carla, whatever you need, just tell me what you need, it's yours. And just, there was no questions asked. It was, he was just so generous. So we started the Big Mama's Italian Feast, and everything that we wanted to raise was obviously going straight back to Mummy's Wish, and they were just so excited.
And the food.
And the food.
And the fashion.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
So many friends, Tracy from White Label Nova, or Your Beautiful Outfit Today, does our fashion parade, and Tony, Phil from Italicor, who's the Italian wines. Yep, Carla, whatever you want, it's all yours, So, as I said, this was our 4th year, and we went from, I think, maybe 32,000 the first year, and every year I've had to better that. High achiever. Yeah. Had to better it. So we were 71,000, but then a beautiful client of mine who won the Gucci bag decided to donate it back. Oh, and we sold raffle tickets after the event to it, and it raised another $3,000. So we were $74,500 this year that we were able to hand over, to Mummy's Wish. So I'm really proud of that. And, because again, it's a network of people who, help me with it. But, every year I think, oh gosh, here we go again. I have to knock on doors to ask for support, through, and it's because it's not hard to sell the event out, as I said now, but it's always that fine line of, going back to the same people for prizes, and, that's the tough part. And you really want to make it different every year, and you have to up the ante to make the good money. So you've got to have good prizes that are good quality prizes for people. So I've been very lucky with, the support out there with, companies and individuals who have given me stuff, to raffle off or auction off. So I'm very lucky like that. But yeah, it's been a really good year. So that was only a few weeks ago. So and now we've just had Easter. So it's I had to calm down over Easter, and as you said, try and regroup and have a relax, because life's busy. Because I am also a real estate agent. I sell real estate. So and obviously a mum and daughter and wife and all those other hats we wear.
So is Mummy's Wish Brisbane based?
It is. Yeah, it's Brisbane based, but it's also national now. So it's there's the Mummy's Wish supporters all around Australia now. But
so people can just Google Mummy's Wish and donate if they want to.
Yeah, absolutely. They've even got a little shop too where they have different events, so you can go to attend an event. But I think the other thing is too, a lot of people say to me after they've had a loss of a family member, or another girl I work with at the moment's just lost a best friend, and similar age group to breast cancer, and she said, I really want to do something and doesn't really know how to start. And not everyone has to raise what I raise.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
You don't. Yeah, that's it. I think it's even a little mums group. You might do something, or instead of a birthday present this year, or you might throw in $20 in the kitty. I mean, it all helps. It all adds up. And there's so many school events and things like that the tennis groups and things like is all that, anything that people can give to Mummy's Wish just helps. There's so many people who do it tough. Like even when I was in having my chemo, some of the stories, I'm sitting there with my entourage of sisters and friends, everyone's popping in and, bringing something and having a coffee and having a laugh. We were always the loudest people in there. But so many young girls, who were from the country and, just no support. They've had to come in and stay at the hospital for a week or two because, there's no one here in Brisbane, and they've had to leave their families and come and do it alone. So there's a lot of that. You don't realise how lucky we all are.
So, can I just ask you, Carla, with regards to this receiving homework, what would you say that you actually have learned in becoming emotionally fit, a bit more resilient at receiving from, obviously the community at large, but do you feel that from the challenges, the health challenges there, have you consciously made, you just said it before, I've had to slow down because it's Easter time. Are you better at receiving these days?
Oh, I'd like to say I am. It's always a struggle.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why is that, do you think?
I don't know what it is.
It's a struggle for people to give to you.
No, I I think people want to give.
Of course they want to give to you.
Yeah, they want to give to me, but I think I've always been the coper. So if you ask anyone in my family, I'm probably one of the go-tos in the family for help or advice or which, I love that. I love my family and I'll do anything for them, but I think sometimes you get...
It's a bit of a mindset.
And I think even when I got sick, I was busy at work. I was probably not taking, I've lost some weight now, but I'd probably put on, too much weight at the time, still need to lose some more. And probably just wasn't looking after everybody else except for me, and not doing that self-care, and thinking I was the one who had to look after everybody else and just completely forgetting about myself. So I do often, I work on a Saturday. I love my job. I would completely cut down if I didn't like it, but I love my job. So I love, the people I work with. We've got a great culture, and they're very much community-based culture too. So they love to help and give. So that fits well with me. But I sometimes come Sunday, I have to say no. I'm not good at saying no either. That's probably something my mother has said to me. You need to learn to say no sometimes, to look after yourself. I'm a bit of a yes girl. And, wanting to help sounds like I'm a complete martyr.
No, it doesn't. I know a lot of, and you're very similar in temperament to my beautiful Barb, my AS. She gives so much, but I suppose this is a theme that I see, these busy, nurturing, giving, you're not lucky, as I've said, you've earned, people love you and want to donate and help you, and Mummy's Wish has obviously been a portal that they feel they can do something for you, but on an individual level, that emotional self-care, the burnt shop syndrome, it's not about martyring, it's genuine. And I think also too, when we're mothers, and my boys are 32 and 30 now, but I remember when they were 10, Billy's age, you're kind of on mother mode 24/7 because you've got little hatchlings in the nest, they're here. And, that's part of the joy of nurturing it and giving. But I suppose if if there was somebody on the other side of this screen listening to us chat here, now knowing what you know about receiving more and slowing down more, what are ways that work for you when you do want to give to you, where you kind of privately high-five yourself and go, yeah, for me, for example, taking myself for a morning walk, or sitting with a feeling rather than inhaling chocolate like cocaine. They're the kind of things that when I actually ride over that speed bump of anxiety, and rather than going to fight and flight and distract, so I call it the fuck it's or the feel it's. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to distract myself. I'll go shopping, I'll eat some chocolate, I'll do some Netflix binge or whatever else. I can fuck it, go into fight and flight, or I can feel it and pay attention and connect. And so often in society, we trade connection for distraction. Because connection sometimes takes emotional muscle, because sometimes I need to have a cry, or sometimes I need to apologise to my husband, or sometimes I need to put myself to bed and have a sleep.
Absolutely.
And they're the things I find not do, but be.
Yes.
What do you
I think
find?
you have to be more conscious, because with all the, we have the Foxtel and the Netflix, all of these distractions, as you say, and there's some great TV on those. Don't get me wrong, there's some really good series that I love to watch. So, that to me is part of it, is a relaxation, but then you're up there at midnight, still one more episode, and then you're exhausted the next day. So that's where I have to cut myself off.
Yeah.
That's probably one of mine that I have to, you might love that series, but it's still there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or,
Which is what you say to your kids.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's every, Billy's, thank goodness, in bed by the time I'm watching my TV. But I think it's taking that. There's time out, but then it's also getting that rest and that sleep and having that Sunday afternoon nap, and not feeling you have to keep going, and then maybe not going to bed till midnight or something.
Yeah.
And I think you really got to give yourself a rest. But I think it's just being conscious.
Yeah.
And instead of just working on autopilot the whole time, is that you have to become conscious of your lifestyle and your sleep patterns and things like that, and finding probably what works for everybody. I mean, the minute I hit the bed, I'm asleep. I'm, love my bed, and I just luckily don't have problems like a lot of people do going to sleep. But I think you've just got to become really conscious of it.
There's a beautiful saying, we must become the parent we needed when we were younger. And if you ask any mummy's wish, it would be that our children are happy and healthy and take care of themselves. But we often don't apply that to ourselves, as you're sort of saying. I think we're all a work in progress on that. It was interesting, just talking about Netflix binging and stuff. There is some great recovery stuff on Netflix now. There's a beautiful documentary called Heal, which is very interesting. But my husband and I just watched, Brené Brown's got a new one, Courage to Lead or something.
Yeah, I've seen that advertised.
It's so good.
Really good. I've watched a few of her. She's a very smart woman.
She just said, because it just kind of clicked in when you were kind of talking about the Netflix binging, which is something I do as well. But she spoke about getting a really bad review and reading a lot of this really, and if you're going to put yourself out there in the arena, as Roosevelt says, which is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get out there and give back and do. But there's always the people in the cheap seats that will have a go and whatever else. And she was talking about that. And then she sort of was saying, and then I got this really bad review from my TED Talk. So what did I do? Peanut butter and Downton Abbey Netflix binge until midnight. And it seems like that food and the escaping into the other world is a pretty common one that many of us women do once the family's in bed. And that's probably a good place to start.
Absolutely.
Putting ourselves to bed. And also, I wouldn't let my children eat a punnet of ice cream and half a tub of peanuts before bed. But, we tend to give ourselves a leave pass and then wonder why we're feeling sluggish and a bit flat the next morning. So thank God, you're a lot younger than me, but I'm figuring, hopefully I've got another 20, 30 years to try and,
absolutely
work on that. But thank you so much, Carla, for sharing today with it. I think there's a lot in that for busy mums and with women. And absolutely, and I think the Mummy's Wish is such a beautiful charity.
It is. It's very special.
Yeah, and maybe we'll come back and chat to you a bit later on about, seeing how you're progressing with your Netflix binging and your self-care.
Maybe I can do my top 5 shows.
Maybe we could do. All right. Is there anything else that you wanted to share?
No. I think we've covered everything.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you, darling.
Thank you.
Bye.